Alright, everybody, welcome back to the third and final match here with Grixis Delver. Wow, we're just getting so lucky with these, You too. Huh, nice people today. Alright, hot french fry. Yeah, let's go ahead and play first. This hand seems pretty good to me. It really wants a third land, but I don't think we can ship it. I think this is going to be one of those hands where we get a basic swamp here. Basic swamp does hurt us from casting Electrolyze, but literally every other land in our deck, in combination with the steam vents here, will allow us to cast that Electrolyze. Literally any land. So go ahead and get a swamp. We don't know what we're up against. If we're up against like a burn deck, we're going to want to keep our life total nice and high. Looks like we're up against some sort of Goblin deck, though. Frenzied Goblin, Foundry Street, Legion Loyalists, a lot of 1-drops, a lot of Legion Loyalists, a lot of X1s. I think I'm going to go ahead and take the Goblin Guide as it presents the most damage on turn 1. And if we hit Electrolyze, then we can Electrolyze a good amount of things away here. Foundry Street, Denizen. Ooh, Bolt. Is that worth keeping up? I think so. Alright, they played a mountain. Did they find another land? They did find another land. Alright, here comes the Legion Loyalist. Sure. Could have 2 Legion Loyalists. Mock War Marshal is a 1/1. Okay. Could play both. I wonder if they do. Oh, they play another Denizen, huh? Interesting. I wonder if I'm inclined to kill both of these right now. So while killing this saves the damage, Foundry Street presents more damage over time. Especially next turn if we don't hit a removal spell. Okay, well, it's not a land, but it is a castable spell, and it means we don't have to throw away our Snapcaster Mage into the Abyss. Wow, another Foundry Street Denizen, alright. Another Legion Loyalist, sure. Again, at this point in time, Foundry Street Denizen just presents the most damage over time next turn. So obviously that's the worst line if we draw land, but we didn't. Wow, this Spell Snare is going to line up pretty nicely here. So we're taking another 2 from these Legion Loyalists, which is frustrating to say the least. Ah, the perfect land. I'm going to go ahead and wait on it, though. See if my opponent plays something else into it. Something else that might be a juicier target. Mog War Marshal. So this doesn't give anything haste, right? I don't think that's a juicier target here. So I'm just going to say, I guess I could have Spell Snared that. That is quite a nice, value card here. But I think I'm just going to go ahead and Electrolyze the board. Go ahead and draw a card. Mana Leak is not bad, not great. I think here we're going to once again hold up some mana until maybe there's a turn where we can play Young Pyromancer plus hold up counter magic. And I wonder if my opponent actually... No, they don't. They don't pay the Echo. They have better things to do with their mana right now. Alright, land it is. Legion Loyalist, sure. Interesting. So they don't... Oh, I guess there's no reason to play the Frenzied Goblin, right? You're going to have combat? Let's go ahead and make you discard and kill your... So that's kind of 2-for-1s our opponent here. Kind of punishes them for not playing out their card. We'll get hit for 1 here, which is a pretty safe life total against Goblins. And the land is fantastic. It means that we can go ahead and play this Young Pyromancer and hold up Mana Leak. And once we get Pyromancer going, we're going to be in a really nice spot. And right now, all of our opponent's spells are in Mana Leak range. Oof. Oof. Opponent. Yes, I don't think we need the second red source here, so I'm not going to shock. I'm just going to get a basic island. Get an elemental that can trade with one of these goblins pretty well. Interesting, our opponent attacks. We'll block one of them. I'm going to go ahead and Thought Scour. Well, I guess I can hold up Snap Leak. Yeah, I think I'll just hold up Snap Leak. I don't think there's any reason to go shields down right now. And worst case scenario, we can go Thought Scour, Snap Bolt, Thought Scour, Snap Fatal Push. We got a good amount of lines here. My opponent just attacks. I think I'll go ahead and Thought Scour myself. Get a token. Let's see what we discard here. All right. Sure. All right. Not bad. Let's just go ahead and wow. All right, keep the gas going, right? Go ahead and bottom the land. We'll top the Fatal Push. All right. Yeah, attack with the Young Pyromancer. I think I'm okay putting down Snapcaster Mage right now and just getting in here with Gurmag Angler. 1, 2, 3. We got to pay 2 more, so let's get rid of one of the probably Thought Scours. Well, we only have one Thought Scour here. We can get rid of one of the Spell Snares and the Inquisition probably as cards that we definitely don't need anymore in this game with Snapcaster Mage. So a combination of cards that could get us here is like Goblin, Goblin Grenade, Goblin plus Goblin Grenade. Alright, Goblin Bushwhacker, sure. If I Bolt Face, actually, bolting the Bushwhacker gets more damage in with Gurmag Angler. It means they don't block. Did they have the Goblin Grenade here, actually, and they just didn't... Oh, wow, they just Bolt Face? I guess that's their out, huh? Oof. Yeah, we're going to swing for a lot of damage this turn. Going to swing for 9 here. Put our opponent down to 7. And we have Snap Leak as well as Snap Bolt plus Push. We got a nice combination of things here. Alright, looks like we were able to take down Goblins here today. Let's see if we have any sideboard tools to help us in game 2 and 3. I like Liliana, I like Static Casters. Grim Lavamancers are okay, not the best. And Brutalities are also okay, but not the best. So let's see if there's anything we want to cut here. We probably, honestly, even though they have 2 drops, we definitely don't want that many Spell Snares. We definitely don't want that many Mana Leaks, especially on the draw. We want cards that interact favorably with our opponent's board state. We definitely don't want Vendilion Click. K-Command is not the best. Collective Brutality seems a little bit better considering it's a life gain option. Inquisition is okay, but not great considering they have so many 1-drops. But just interacting early seems fine to me. Yeah, I think, again, keeping the top curve a little trimmed. So not to board in a bunch of 3s and then, you know, keep them all in. I'm going to mulligan, obviously, no lands. Here we have a Bolt and a Scour plus a Scry from our... Yeah, let's go ahead and keep a Serum Visions on top. I think it's better than a random card. Alright, that's a Legion Loyalist. I think here I'll go ahead and hold up Scour or Bolt. If my opponent has a pretty nutty turn next turn, I'm going to want to... Tormod's Crypt. Sure, I guess. Another Loyalist. I think I'll go ahead and Bolt one of them here. We don't want to die with cards in our hand, so let's just go ahead and Serum Visions. Tasigur doesn't seem great in the face of the Tormod's Crypt, although we could force it out, but I think this is actually a bottom in an awkward turn of events here. Well, we got our Tasigur anyways, and I'm going to keep the Young Pyromancer on top. I guess our opponent doesn't know that we could have a Delve threat coming up, so they might save this Tormod's Crypt for a different set of events. Mog Fanatic, sure. Get in there for 1. Sure. So normally we would want to Thought Scour before we Tassiger to keep our graveyard small, but I think we're actually incentivized to save that Thought Scour for this young Pyromancer here. So let's just go ahead and fetch, get a swamp. And now we have a Tassiger out. This Tormod's Crypt doesn't hurt us quite as much. They could Goblin Grenade our Tassiger out of the way, but that does 2-for-1 them. If they attack here, I'm not sure what that means. It could mean they Mog Fanatic, ping it, plus Bolt if I block the Legion Loyalist. So that might mean if they attack with both that I don't block the Legion Loyalist, I just block the Mog Fanatic. Goblin Bushwhacker, sure. That gets in for 4 damage here, right? I think we want to get the Legion Loyalist off the board here. So that way our tokens can block first strike damage. Gurmag Angler. Wow. Okay. Interesting. Will we have enough? This puts a second card in the yard. Second card. Thought Scour puts a total of 3. Not quite. We're not quite able to do everything we want to do. Right? Let me just make sure the math is correct. Fetch Land is a second card in the yard. Thought Scour is another 3 in the yard. I think maybe we want to Thought Scour right now anyways. Staticaster, wow. That might single-handedly take over the game. If my opponent just saves this Tormod's Crypt for a Snapcaster Mage, then we might even get to resolve both of our spells next turn. Yeah, I imagine, alright, they're going to bolt the Young Pyromancer, which makes sense because they just can't push damage through that. But they could have popped the Mog Fanatic too. Yeah, now we're in a really good spot. So, we have 6 cards in the yard. It is a risk cracking this fetch land here. They might activate Tormod's Crypt in response. I think exiling the yard is just... I mean, in the face of a Tormod's Crypt, actually exiling the yard seems fine. Yeah, that's you can have like an 0-for-1, you know. Can play that tapped. I guess we could have... I think we can even get in there with Tassiger. Yeah, we need to start getting in there with Tassiger. There are lines out of our opponent that could just kill us. They could like bolt us and then like double Goblin Grenade. Goblin Chief. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and pop the Goblin Bushwhacker? It's gotta be the Mog Fanatic, right? Yeah, it's gotta be the Mog Fanatic. Alright, they blow up my token, makes sense. The Goblin King does mean that life is gonna get a bit hard for us, right? This is a Staticaster, is not as good as we wanted it to be. I think this also means we're back on defense for the turn. Because if they play like another Goblin Chieftain, we might be in just a totally... Well, not that rough of a spot, is it? Cast a red spell? Sure. And now we can activate Tassiger even? They probably give us the Inquisition, I imagine. Let's go ahead and crack this fetch here. Let's get another black-red source. Wow, our opponent didn't activate Tormods. So we'll just go ahead and do that. Ping that. Inquisition. Yeah. Oof. Goblins player. And now, yeah, they're just dead now, right? And you can see this combination of Grim Lavamancer and Izzet Staticaster really great against little critter decks, which, again, this deck doesn't do that great of a job at beating, just naturally. I think our opponent just conceded. Yeah, there we go. And we could have still activated Tasker at end of turn there, which would have been fantastic. Anyways, that was the third match there against Goblins. Last match there. Hope you enjoyed it. Stick around right after this for some closing comments about one of my favorite decks in Modern. Alright, what's up guys? Welcome back to the closing comments here with Grixis Delver. We were able to go 2-1 in those past 3 matches, right? So round 1 we beat Hardened Scales, kind of like Affinity. I'm not sure if that's the right name for it exactly, but like it's basically Hardened Scale artifact deck. It's not a bad deck at all. I think it's actually quite an underplayed deck. It can have some pretty ridiculous turns, and I think has the capability of a turn 3 kill involving an Inkmoth Nexus. So obviously, I think that's the kind of deck that we line up pretty well against. We have good removal, we have good artifact removal, and we also have good counter magic for that deck, right? Spell Snare is fantastic against them. You know, I almost even thought about building this deck list with 3 Spell Snares because that's how it normally was, but I actually like Inquisition in the deck over the 3rd and 4th Spell Snare. So 2 Inquisitions, 2 Spell Snare is what I ended up doing. But anyways, we were able to beat that matchup in round 1. Round 2, we were played against Green-White Company, and I think I sideboarded a little poorly. I think we probably wanted the 3rd Mana Leak in Game 3 on the play. I think Mana Leak is the kind of card that gets so much better on the play, especially when your opponent usually plays at sorcery speed, and if they're not playing at sorcery speed, they're trying to resolve 4 mana instants, and that's expensive, which means Mana Leak usually hits them. So I do like Mana Leak on the play in this deck, so I think that's something we could reconsider. Also, I forgot to have Dispels in my sideboard. So normally I have 2 Dispels somewhere in the sideboard here. You know, I probably have it over one of the Ceremonious Rejections or maybe over the Molten Rains or something like that. Yeah, I'm not sure why I kind of just forgot that, but Dispel, definitely a card you want to have. Definitely a card that could have helped against Collected Company as well. And lastly, we played against Mono Red Goblins. And so Goblins can be a tricky matchup, don't get me wrong. I also think that's an underplayed deck in Modern because it can have some really explosive turns that can just blow out any deck that doesn't interact like before turn 3. For example, Tron. So I think, Goblins, not the worst deck in the format, so even though it kind of seems like a meme, it's really not that bad of a deck. But we did come with the tools prepared to beat those types of decks, right? You saw the combination of Lavamancer and Izzet Staticaster do some serious work against our opponent as not just, being able to 1-for-1 our opponent, but to 2-for-1 our opponents throughout the course of a game, or 3-for-1 if left unchecked. So overall, I really do like that kind of creature hate package, especially for a deck like this, where we don't necessarily have that many pieces of spot removal. We're not like Jeskai where we have 4 Path, 4 Bolt, 3 Helix, 2 Electrolyze, right? We have 4 Bolt, 2 Push, we have a Brutality and the Terminate, and then we have kind of like these 3 drops where you can argue are spot removal, but they don't necessarily line up well against everything, and they're a little slow, right? So obviously our 1-mana removal spells are situational, but they're fast and they are cheap and they interact when we need them to interact, whereas I don't really consider these, spot removal spells. So we're definitely a bit different, a bit lighter on hard removal, which is why we have kind of like this sideboard package for those go wide creature decks where our removal spells in game 1 aren't good enough. Anyways, so we went 2-1. Grixis Delver, again, if you look back into the records of the decks I've recorded with, the very, very first deck I ever recorded with was Grixis Delver, and the very first few decks I recorded with were Grixis variants of this deck. And again, I really love the deck. It's got a lot of nice play lines. It feels like it rewards you for playing well. You feel like you have the tools to win most matchups. There are some that feel unwinnable, but you know, a lot of blue decks have those in Modern, like Dredge, for example. But even Dredge, not the worst matchup in the world. We have a turn 1 threat that gets damage in over time, and then we even have counter magic for conflagrates and things like that. So, not the worst matchup, but obviously not the perfect deck in any sense of the word. And is it better than Grixis Shadow right now? I think you could make an argument that maybe sometimes it is, but I also think that the combination of Death Shadow plus Stubborn Denial is really strong against what's going on in the format. However, if the metagame shifts away from like Storm or Ironworks combo, we might see more grindy elements be more useful in a Grixis deck. Whereas right now, Grixis doesn't really need to grind. Right now, Grixis needs to survive against combo and then pressure the opponent with a fast clock. And we can do that okay with Grixis Delver, but Grixis Shadow definitely does it better. Don't get me wrong there. Anyways, I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you all so much for watching these short 3 matches, but I hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for hopefully more videos coming up, in the next coming days, 2 to 3 days. I'll see you guys soon.